I'm back, motherfuckers! My vacation gave me the time to make a new profile picture, allowed me to focus more on my art on Instagram, and I got the time to catch up on Love Life Superstar. I plan on doing a review of that once the series ends. But as they say, the more things change, the more they stay the same, and what doesn't change is the stupidity of some people that can't tell what's real and what isn't. For those that are unfamiliar with the situation, Erin Clover is an artist in the My Hero Academia fandom who also has a Patreon where she posts NSFW content. She has her own self-insert OC, which she also ships with Bakugo. Her NSFW artwork in particular involves her, Bakugo, and at times the character Hawks getting fucked. But because social media tards are never happy, everybody started calling out Erin and said that her artwork was pedophilic even though she aged up the characters so that they be of the age of consent. So you have terrible takes like aging up isn't an excuse because dude, trust me, and the person we're going to be talking about today, Streamline Workshop, who made 3 videos on this topic. Though I'll only be covering the first and the third video because I can't find the second one anywhere. Maybe she deleted it, maybe YouTube got rid of it, I don't know the full story. So now I'm going to tear both of these videos a new asshole and explain why the MHA fandom is full of a bunch of hypocrites and it's just a cesspit of hate, toxicity, and unfair bullshit. Of course, you could say that about any fandom, but we're talking about MHA specifically here.
My Hero Academia by Kohei Horikoshi is a show about heroes and what it means to be a hero. And despite the premise, many prominent figures in the community seem to enjoy dabbling in borderline villainous hobbies.
Like bullying, harassing, and falsely accusing? Because that's what the fans do.
There's already a pre-existing stigma around OCX canoonships, and Erin Clover has done nothing except worsen this stigma.
Well, I agree, there is definitely a stigma regarding those kinds of ships, but not like you think. And the problems with those kinds of ships are more due to how the Mary Sue character itself is written. Being a character that's borderline treated as a saint by all, is an expert at everything without even trying or any prior knowledge, and of course getting all the men or women. Many times when these kinds of ships are made, the canon character doesn't even act like their in-universe self, either because the writer is just incompetent or for the sake of making the OC look good. There are times when it can be done right, but most of the time it just isn't. The reason why I bring up the Mary Sue character specifically is because that's what Erin's character was accused of being, and to an extent I can see where they're coming from.
The drama has mostly been circulating on Instagram, so it's unlikely that you've heard of it unless you frequent Instagram.
Well, I posted my artwork on the platform for over a year now, and I never heard of this until recently, but I mean, that's neither here nor there.
This video will be giving you a briefing of the situation, explaining why what Erin did was wrong, and where the community has been overreacting.
The short answer is that everybody blew this topic way out of proportion, much like the hatred everybody had towards Cypher Season 2, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
Sources claim that Sam is anywhere from being in her early 20s to being in the 26 to 30 age range. A user by the name of Kantakero has confirmed Erin is 26, soon to be 27. However, I haven't found any solid proof, so we will simply say she is somewhere above 20.
Well, I can tell you that the people saying that Erin is 30 is a load of shit, because that age actually refers to a different OC that's similarly named, but looks nothing like Erin's OC herself, at least the one that we're talking about in this context. Granted, I could at least give you points for taking this information with a grain of salt, because nothing's concrete.
She was best known for her works featuring her OC paired with Bakugo Katsuki from My Hero Academia, with both characters being 18 in her universe. She enjoyed a relative period of success, amassing over 130,000 followers on Instagram, before a Patreon leak of an NSFW work including Bakugo, Hawks, and Erin was shared to the public.
Okay, and as you previously said, Erin's character and Bakugo are aged up to 18, and Hawks in canon is 23 years old. So, where's the issue?
Following this was an angry mob that demanded answers from their favorite creator. Erin couldn't handle the backlash from the community and ended up disabling her TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Notably, however, Erin's Patreon is still up, and not helping this is the fact that Erin has recently announced that she is leaving Instagram for good on a Patreon post, as well as the fact that she is still making NSFW content of her OC and Bakugo.
You also can't see the NSFW art unless you are of age and support her on Patreon. Even then, those pieces are tagged as NSFW, as you've shown in the one picture, and for her others. So if you view those pictures and you still get offended, the blame is solely on you, not Erin.
People have also allegedly found an example of how Erin draws herself, and have pointed out how disturbingly similar her persona is to her OC. Something that I would like to point out is the fact that Erin made the Patreon post about leaving Instagram 2 days after the allegation that Erin is her self-insert surfaced on TikTok. This is not proof of anything, but is definitely a coincidence that warrants a few raised eyebrows. But then again, this is only allegedly Erin's drawing of herself, as she has deleted all of her Instagram posts, and I don't have access to her Patreon to confirm.
So the fandom should just bite their tongue until actual solid proof comes out and make a decision from there.
Currently, there are fans who want Erin to simply come back and continue making art, while others are angry that she hasn't been properly cancelled yet.
And the cancel mob should fuck off and move on, but that makes too much sense, so obviously they're not going to do that. How do you expect answers from Erin if you're just going to cancel her and not give her a chance to explain herself? Never mind the fact that she doesn't owe you an explanation in the first place.
This is all obviously very tricky to tackle, because a lot of things are being towed dangerously close to the line.
Accusing somebody of being a pedophile without any evidence is far beyond just dangerously towing it close to the line.
And requires a very careful and delicate approach, one that I hope to take in this situation.
Spoilers, you don't.
Now that everyone knows the gist of things, it's time to talk about why this is unacceptable in the first place if all the characters are supposedly over the age of 18.
Your approach is about as delicate as a fucking jackhammer. But we've just scratched the surface. Continue.
Thinking claim that there's nothing wrong since there aren't any minors in the drawings, since they've been aged up, or they're just fictional characters and it doesn't affect reality.
Both of which are fair and valid points, but I know you're not going to agree with those, so get on with it.
However, these surface-level arguments aren't enough to debunk and explain why aging up minors is a terrible move.
Translation: these people are never pleased.
And while it's upsetting that this even has to be thought about on a deeper level, rather than humanity as a whole collectively agreeing that it's just not a good idea.
Oh, poor Stream doesn't like that everybody doesn't share her views. Take your sad violin and get lost.
Erin has already justified to herself and her fans that since everyone there is technically 18, it's fine.
Which, legally, yeah, it is fine. If you don't like it, don't look at the artwork.
The whole reason people are getting upset about an aged-up character being placed in a sexual situation is because for them to end up in that sexual situation in the first place, you would have to look at a minor character, see them as something desirable or sexy, realize that you can't see them that way because they're still a minor, and then age them up so that you can excuse the fact that they're being sexualized.
All I hear is feelings, feelings, feelings.
It's become so normalized to sexualize objects of desire that people rarely bat an eye at it anymore.
Because it's a non-issue. Your feelings are not the law. Keep fucking crying.
Too often that one hears, it's just a drawing, or there aren't any real minors being hurt, etc., when they argue for the sexualization of minors.
Fictional minors. That part is important, Stream.
If you say sexualizing minors means they're a pedo, then violent video games make people violent too. On the surface, this seems like an airtight argument.
This is the part where you go into a tirade similar to Devil's video, isn't it?
Violence in video games distances the viewer to the violence. When you think of violent video games, games that come to the forefront are the Resident Evil series, Grand Theft Auto, Call of Duty. Most of these games will put you in a situation that you can easily distinguish from your current reality. Shooting at monsters, extreme violence, such as shooting someone or running them over with a car, being in a war zone, these all serve to distance our minds from the situations, and thus also distance the violent actions that we choose in those situations. Sexualization does not have that same courtesy.
I'm not even going to begin going over what was wrong with what you just said, so I'm just gonna let Appabend explain it for you.
Violent urges are not the same as reproductive urges. Not a lot of people can get through No Not November after all. That doesn't mean that they can't be controlled, and that doesn't mean that indulging on them might lead into people committing real-life crimes. In the past, I've shown statistics that show that violent crimes have gone down at the same time that video game sales have gone up. What if I tell you that the same applies to the consumption of not just X-rated anime, but also X-rated materials in general? or at least to a certain extent. Here's an article talking about a study that shows how the increase of X-rated materials are happening at the same time as the decrease of lustful crimes. And this is happening at the same time where people are taking these reports more seriously.
So, regardless of the mental gymnastics you might try to pull, the violent video game comparison is more apt than you would think. Stream then compares the situation of aging up and sexualizing the minors in MHA to racism, which is extremely fucking stupid.
Is that not also the case for sexualizing minors? Why do people feel the need to justify sexualizing children at all, fictional or not?
Everyone with a brain knows that actual CP is illegal and wrong, and sexualizing fictional characters, regardless of their in-universe age, should not be an issue, whether or not it disgusts you. Your feelings don't apply here.
It's because sexualization is already so normalized that people don't even realize it's a problem anymore. The idea that something that is desirable, being sexy, is the norm. However, I think the people who are calling her a pedophile over this situation are taking it too far. It's easy to take the least charitable interpretation of someone's actions.
Oh my god, something we can agree on. A round of applause, everyone.
Basically, we tend to underestimate the effect the environment, in this case, the culture, has on how a person thinks.
And people like you overestimate the power that fiction has over the average person, but go off.
Minors finding other minor characters sexy is fine and normal because they're the same age. When adults do it, that's when the problem starts.
Wipe that smug grin off your face. You didn't earn it. The problem starts when adults do it. Like Horikoshi himself. Oh no, the students are bathing, even though good hygiene should be practiced by everyone, but I don't care, my feelings are hurt. Jail time! Showing the girls changing in their locker rooms? That's more jail for you, mister. What the hell is Momo's outfit? You're looking at a life sentence if you keep this up, buddy. I genuinely hope that these fragile-minded people don't watch High School of the Dead. They'd have a heart attack.
This situation saddens me, because it's situations like these that get a whole community of people who just want to have fun be labeled as freaks.
You have absolutely zero right to talk with you policing what people can and can't draw.
When someone like Erin Clover is the face of that community, it only results in everyone getting hurt.
The only person that was hurt by this was Erin herself. Because people like you can't just let fiction be fiction.
The community has gone overboard with calling her a pedophile and with some of the posts mocking her. But at the same time, she does deserve criticism for what she has chosen to do with her skills. Even more so when she is running from this criticism instead of owning up to her actions and hiding behind her Patreon.
Bullying and the threat of doxing isn't criticism, it's subjugation. The fucking nerve of you to say, oh, she chose to do this with her skills. Who are you to dictate what she can and can't do with her art?
I don't think I can continue to support what she has chosen to do.
Good. People like you aren't welcome in her community. You can leave. So much for taking a delicate approach. All you've done is just muddy the waters even more. I guess creative freedom is only allowed when you fucking say it is. For an artist, you have a very poor grasp on freedom of expression. But we're not done yet. This whole situation gets worse. The second video that Streamline made featured the YouTuber Ponder Sprocket, and in that second video, she realized that she was wrong because Ponder brought up the legality of the situation, which supersedes people's feelings. I can't find the second video for the life of me, but the comments in the third video paint a pretty good picture about what went down there. Speaking of the third video, Stream essentially doubled down on her original point. So, she accused Erin, then did a 180, and then went back to square one. And before I tear this video apart, allow me to be positive towards Stream for 1 second because her sprite actually looks pretty good. She's got one thick-ass butt. Okay, Colton, are you watching? I include the sound effect. Enjoy your stupid inside joke. Now let's get serious again.
I'm really sorry for how this situation has been handled so far. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine it would turn out to be such a mess.
Apology not accepted. Your introduction alone shows that you considered your stance in the first video to be the right one. So no, personally, I do not accept your apology.
I've completely rewritten this intro like 3 times at this point because I'm not really sure how to start.
That should probably tell you that maybe you should take the L and move on, but here we are.
While I disagree with my last video on this, Ponder still does bring up some valid points about how we interpret characters. However, those points are rendered moot when we consider other aspects unique to the situation, that being the show My Hero Academia.
You're going to dismiss Ponder's points, which were firmly set in legality, because this is My Hero Academia.
Your stupidity is truly astounding.
I don't think Ponder purposely misconstrued anything during our conversation, but rather I think it simply comes from the lack of having watched My Hero Academia.
That's irrelevant whether she watched it or not.
Minor characters are not real minors, and I don't intend to treat them as such. Erin Clover is not a pedophile. Please stop throwing that term around so loosely. It's been used so much I feel the real weight of the word has been entirely lost on the people using it. Knock it off. Right. Cool.
Brace yourselves for the contradiction.
The internet doesn't have to cater to you. If you don't like gore art, stop asking the artist to stop posting and find ways to block gore art. If you don't like NSFW art, find ways to block it instead of asking the artist to take it down.
Holy fuck, you actually presented a solution. Maybe you actually can turn this around.
However, in this situation particularly, I don't think Erin is blameless.
And now you've contradicted yourself plain as day, making the last 30 seconds moot. Absolutely wonderful.
We tend to leave out undesirable parts to our interpretation to form our own narrative in our head.
Oh, thank you, Stream. I really need to know what a headcanon was. Which is what everybody on these social medias has been bitching about. A headcanon.
If My Hero's themes were subtle, because they're not, they hit you over and over again in the face to the point where it's impossible to ignore the fact that these characters are supposed to be teenagers.
So a fan's headcanon needs to follow the in-universe narrative because it wasn't subtle about it, completely destroying the point of a headcanon, which doesn't need to follow in-universe rules. Do you understand how stupid that sounds?
I feel a very severe disconnect between myself and the characters because I no longer require an adult to look after me. I am now an adult.
No, the fuck you are not!
On paper you might be, but an actual adult wouldn't waste their time over trivial shit like this. That wouldn't be you.
Means whatever part of myself I see in that character has been dulled down significantly, which means I don't bond with them as much, which means I would never have any intention to age them up in the first place, despite having been introduced to this show as a minor. I'm not saying adults can't enjoy shows about high schoolers.
Just because you can't relate to the characters anymore because of their age, Miss Adult, doesn't mean that other adults who watch My Hero Academia can't relate to the characters either.
If Erin truly did view these characters as adults, why has she kept them in the same school with the exact same design?
Because Erin's own rights as an artist will always take precedence over yours and others' feelings. You said yourself,
the internet doesn't have to cater to you.
So do us all a favor and start taking your own advice.
Yes, Erin has put her NSFW work behind a paywall, so that only adults would have access to it, but many people find it disturbing that Erin is catering towards adults who are sexually attracted to the designs of characters who are supposed to be, and very explicitly shown in the show to be, minors.
Miss Adult, you said this.
The internet doesn't have to cater to you.
And yet here you are, still whinging about this. You won't treat fictional minors as real minors, but then you frame what Erin was doing as though she were distributing CP. By far and away, you've handled this entire situation horrifically.
There are characters who are adults that are still in high school, like the DDLC gang, but they are adults who just happen to still be in high school. It's not the same as when you age up a character and keep them in high school. Especially not when you also draw porn of them, because it will appear to a vast majority of the public.
So it's okay for Doki Doki Literature Club to handwave the characters' ages, but Erin can't do the same? How much more blatant can your bias be? You even said that Erin's art was behind a paywall, so if somebody looks at the art and they still get offended by it, it's their fault. But fuck accountability, right? You have to blame somebody, otherwise it's all your fault.
And just because you say something isn't what you intended it to be, it doesn't change how it comes off. Erin is a public figure, so we can't treat what she does as if it only affects a small number of people. She has a lot of influence, and she hasn't been the best about using that influence because of how she presents her art.
You are such a disingenuous, arrogant hypocrite. Thinking that you or anybody else has a right to dictate how Erin uses her influence or what she makes with her artwork. I was willing to go over both videos in full, but I'm just going to skip to the end of this one now, because if I keep going on, I might just have an ulcer out of all this fucking shit that's going on. Okay, I'm going to try to calm down, alright?
Thank you guys for letting me have the time to properly piece together all of my thoughts on this, and I hope I won't disappoint you like this again.
Sorry, Miss Adult. But I don't believe you deserve another chance. You've already had 3. How many more do you want?
The Erin Clover situation is messy. There's no shortage of people saying there's no definitive right or wrong because nothing is illegal.
Say that again, very slowly.
There's no definitive right or wrong because nothing is illegal.
The legality of something isn't definitive enough? Do you hear yourself right now?
I'm not here to police opinions, nor is my opinion the absolute truth.
Then allow me to jog your memory, Miss Adult.
When adults do it, that's when the problem starts. Erin Clover has done nothing except worsen this stigma. Why what Erin did was wrong. When someone like Erin Clover is the face of that community, it only results in everyone getting hurt. Why this is unacceptable in the first place. It's not the same as when you age up a character and keep them in high school.
Not to mention that the title of the video says that you were right the first time.
And I hope that you'll take my opinion as just that.
I can't. And I don't think you deserve it on this matter. This isn't something you could just brush off with.
Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has them days.
When you made your second video, a lot of people thought it was a step in the right direction for you. And now you're back at square one, doing everything insinuating that Erin is a pedophile, validating everyone harassing her in the first place. You said that nothing Erin did was illegal, but apparently that's not good enough for you. You instead put your feelings above legality and Erin's own individual rights. Full offense. Fuck your feelings. And in your most recent video where you acknowledge where you fucked up, you don't point to the Erin situation. For someone who reacts very emotionally to things, you don't consider Erin's own feelings throughout this entire situation. But I guess you saving face was more important than acknowledging that you handled this situation terribly. I've said it several times at this point, and I'll say it again. Erin owes you and the other people she offended nothing. And she deserved absolutely none of the slander that she was hit with. If you truly had your way, freedom of expression would be dead. And until you learn to differentiate your feelings from someone's rights, you've learned nothing. And to anyone watching this video who had a hand in contributing to Erin's harassment, you don't belong on the internet or any fandom at all, period. To the people that want her canceled, you clearly have no place in her community. Get lost. I can't stop you from commenting or disliking the video, of course, but don't start crying if a disagreement doesn't end in your favor. To any NSFW artists that happen upon this video, or any aspiring NSFW artists, don't let anybody dictate what you can and can't use your talent for. You know your audience, you know what they want. Stick to pleasing them. Their support is the only one you need. And you owe no one an apology if your art happens to offend some people. And finally, to Erin herself, if for some reason she happens to stumble across this video, I don't mince my words when I say that you didn't deserve any of this crap that was flung at you. Absolutely no one deserves to have such damaging false accusations thrown in their face like it's candy on Halloween. I genuinely hope that you're able to bounce back from this if you haven't already. Don't make art to appease the cancel mob. Make art because you want to make it. The people that stuck by your side and continue to support you on Patreon, and the people that want you to come back to social media are the ones that truly have your back. And if there truly isn't a way you can find to bounce back from this, then I hope you can find a way to support yourself again. I mean, of course, I'm just another stranger on the internet and I'm not in your head. But just know this, that I'll do whatever I can to support you. I mean, whatever my word would mean to you. Long story short, I'm on your side, and I'll do what I can to support you. I hope you return, but the choice is ultimately up to you. But if you do come back, me and the people who really do support you will welcome you with open arms. If I had the power to make all these false accusations and any of the trauma you've been put through go away, I'd do it in a heartbeat. I'm truly sorry about the situation, and I genuinely hope that you do come back. And before I end up bawling my eyes out here, I think it's time for me to end this video. I hope you all are happy that I'm back, and I will never stop defending people's rights to express themselves through art. I hope I didn't disappoint. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next video. And once again, Erin, I hope you return.